The term Africa has been in use for centuries, and its origins are complex and multifaceted, involving linguistic, historical, and cultural influences. To understand the real name of Africa, one must delve into ancient history, etymology, and the evolution of nomenclature across different civilizations. Ancient names and etymology. Africa is a name that has evolved over time and has been influenced by various cultures and languages. Before it was known as Africa, the continent had different names used by different civilizations. Alkebulan. One of the oldest names for Africa is Alkebulan, which means Mother of Mankind, or Garden of Eden. This name is said to have been used by the Moors, Nubians, Numidians, Carthaginians, and Ethiopians. Alkebulan is believed to be an indigenous name that predates recorded history and was used by the African people themselves. Libya. In ancient Greek history, Libya was used to refer to the continent. The Greeks divided the world into three parts: Europe, Asia, and Libya, Africa. The term Libya specifically referred to the region west of the Nile and included much of what we now know as North Africa. Ethiopia. Another name used by the Greeks was Ethiopia, derived from the Greek word Ethiops, meaning burnt face. This term was used to describe the dark-skinned people living south of Egypt, encompassing a vast area that includes parts of modern-day Ethiopia and Sudan. Ifriqiya. The Romans referred to the region corresponding to modern-day Tunisia as Ifriqiya, or Africa, derived from the Berber word ifri or auriga, meaning cave or cavern. This term was initially used to describe a specific part of North Africa before it was generalized to refer to the entire continent. Roman influence and naming. The name Africa, as we know it today, is largely attributed to the Romans. After defeating Carthage in the Third Punic War, 149 to 146 BCE, the Romans established the province of Africa Proconsularis in what is now Tunisia. This region, formerly known as Ifriqiya, became a significant part of the Roman Empire. The Romans might have adopted the name from the Berbers, who were native to the region. The Berber word Ifri or Ifran means cave dwellers, which likely referred to the indigenous people who lived in the area. As Roman influence expanded, the name Africa began to be used more broadly to describe the entire continent. Spread and adoption of the name Africa. Following the Roman era, the name Africa continued to spread through trade, conquest, and cultural exchanges. The Arab conquest of North Africa in the 7th century saw the continuation of the use of the term Ifriqiya in Islamic texts. During the medieval period, European maps and documents started using Africa to describe the continent as a whole. In the age of exploration, European navigators and cartographers adopted the Roman nomenclature. By the 15th century, the name Africa was widely accepted in Europe and subsequently spread globally due to European colonialism. This period of exploration and colonization played a crucial role in standardizing the name Africa across various languages and cultures. The transformation and significance of the name Africa. The name Africa itself has undergone several interpretations and transformations over the centuries. Its etymology reflects a rich tapestry of cultural and linguistic influences. Latin influence. The Romans were instrumental in naming the province of Africa. The Latin word Africa possibly stems from the Berber word Ifri or auriga. Some scholars suggest that the Latin term Africa mean sunny, or the Greek word Africae, meaning without cold, might also have contributed to the name. Greek contributions. Greek scholars and historians used various names to refer to regions of the African continent. Herodotus, the Greek historian, used the term Libya to describe the continent, while Ethiopia was used to refer to the land of the burnt-faced people, a term that eventually influenced the name of the modern nation of Ethiopia. Arabic influence. During the Islamic Golden Age, Arab scholars and geographers such as Al-Idrisi and Ibn Battuta used the term Ifriqiya to describe North Africa. The name continued to carry significance in Islamic texts and maps. Colonial and post-colonial implications. The adoption and standardization of the name Africa were significantly influenced by European colonialism. During the 15th and 16th centuries, as European powers began their expeditions and established colonies, the Roman nomenclature for the continent became more entrenched. Cartography and exploration. European explorers like Vasco da Gama, Christopher Columbus, and Ferdinand Magellan played pivotal roles in mapping the African continent and promoting the use of the name Africa in European cartography and literature. Colonialism. The scramble for Africa in the late 19th century saw European powers dividing and colonizing vast regions of the continent. The name Africa was used extensively in treaties, administrative documents, and maps, further embedding it in global consciousness. Independence movements. During the mid-20th century, as African nations gained independence from colonial rule, the name Africa was embraced as a unifying identity. Pan-Africanism, led by figures like Kwame Nkrumah and Jomo Kenyatta, sought to foster unity and solidarity among African nations, reinforcing the continent-wide use of the name Africa. The legacy and identity of the name Africa. The name Africa today is more than a geographic designation. It carries deep cultural, historical, and political significance. It symbolizes a rich heritage, diverse cultures, and a history of resilience and struggle against colonialism and exploitation. Cultural Renaissance. The African Renaissance movement, which seeks to revive and celebrate African culture, heritage, and identity, embraces the name Africa as a symbol of pride and unity. It aims to reframe the narrative of Africa, moving away from colonial stereotypes and highlighting the continent's contributions to global civilization. Political and economic significance. Organizations such as the African Union, AU, use the name Africa to promote political and economic integration among African nations. The AU's initiatives aim to foster development, peace, and prosperity across the continent, reinforcing the collective identity encapsulated by the name Africa. Global influence. The African diaspora has also played a crucial role in shaping the modern perception of Africa. Through music, art, literature, and activism, people of African descent across the world celebrate and propagate the cultural richness of Africa, ensuring that the name Africa resonates globally. Conclusion. The name Africa is a result of a complex interplay of indigenous languages, ancient civilizations, and colonial influences. Its evolution, from names like Alkebulan, Libya, and Ethiopia to the modern term Africa, reflects the continent's dynamic history and cultural diversity. The adoption of the name Africa by the Romans marked a significant turning point, as it gradually replaced earlier names and became the standard designation for the continent. This transition was further solidified through European exploration and colonization, and later through the efforts of African leaders and movements seeking to unify the continent under a shared identity. Today, the name Africa stands as a testament to the continent's rich heritage, enduring spirit, and aspirations for a united and prosperous Future. It embodies the journey of a continent that has witnessed the rise and fall of great civilizations, endured the trials of colonization, and continues to strive for progress and unity in the modern world. Please subscribe to watch more.